A very good morning. It's just past 10 by the clock. We are back again with news on the hour. 60 minutes of power-packed action where we get you news from India and abroad, where we cut all the noise, bring you news as it unfolds on ground zero. I'm Anil Thomas, and over the next 60 minutes, before we kickstart, let's take a look at the top stories that we are following. On the occasion of Dhamma Chakra Day, President Nath Kovind says the world reeling under the impact of COVID-19 needs the healing touch of compassion, kindness and selflessness more than ever before. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his message says India has shown how we can face even the most difficult challenge by following the path of Buddha. Heavy rains continues in parts of Maharashtra and Goa. At least 50 people dead in landslides in Maharashtra. Flood-like situation continues in Kolhapur, Sangli, Satara districts. Indian Navy, Air Force and NDRF mobilize teams for relief and evacuation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls Goa Chief Minister to inquire about the situation in the state. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to visit India on the 27th and 28th of July. Blinken expected to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar during his visit to discuss a wide range of issues including cooperation on COVID response and shared regional security interests. In sports, Indian contingent begin the quest for medals in Tokyo 2020. Archers Deepika Kumari and Praveen Jadhav reach quarterfinals of mixed team event. Men's hockey team win first match against New Zealand 3-2. India wins the three-match ODI series against Sri Lanka 2-1 as Sri Lanka back consolatory win in the last match of the series. Suryakumar Yadav bags man of the player of the series. Well, now for the stories in detail, starting first up with Guru Purnima today. Ashad Purnima or Guru Purnima is being celebrated today. The festival is marked by Buddhists, Hindus and Jains every year on the full moon day in the Hindu month of Ashad of the Hindu calendar, or the Ashad Purnima Tithi. On this day, disciples worship or pay respect to their gurus or spiritual guide and thank them for enlightening them with knowledge. The day, which is also celebrated as Dhamma Chakra Day, commemorates Gautam Buddha's first sermon to his 5 ascetic disciples at the Deer Park. President Nath Kovind today planted a sapling from the holy Bodhi tree in the Rashtrapati Bhavan on the occasion of Ashad Purnima, which is observed as Dhamma Chakra Day. President Nath Kovind offered prayers to Lord Gautam Buddha. He offered flowers to the statue of Lord Buddha. The president said that the sapling that will turn into a tree will remain in Rashtrapati Bhavan as a lasting symbol of Buddha's expansive world view. In his message on Dhamma Chakra Day, President Nath Kovind said he hopes that today's world, which is reeling under COVID-19 pandemic, should get inspired by Buddha's infinite compassion and resolve to overcome all sources of human sufferings.
Application of Buddhist values and principles in addressing issues of global concern will help in healing the world and making it a better place. Reeling under the impact of COVID-19, The world, more than ever before, needs the healing touch of compassion, kindness, and selflessness. These universal values propagated by Buddhism need to be adopted by all in their thoughts and actions. I hope today's world gets inspired by the Buddha's infinite compassion and resolves to overcome all sources of human suffering. I pray that human society follows the ideals of the Buddha and works to make our planet a more hospitable habitat.
The president also said that the world needs power of Buddha in the form of love, compassion, non-violence and healing to conquer the forces of violence, conflict and poverty.
The world needs the power of the Buddha in the form of love, compassion, non-violence and healing to conquer the forces of violence, disease, conflict and poverty. The Buddha's assurance of putting an end to suffering, his emphasis on universal compassion and non-violence, his message to pursue morality and moderation in all aspects of life have inspired countless people over the last 2,600 years since his first sermon at Sarnath on this very day.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed the nation on the occasion of the Ashad Poornima or Guru Poornima and the Dharma Chakra day. Prime Minister Modi conveyed greetings on the occasion to the people of the nation and said that this was the day that today we also celebrate Guru Poornima, and on this day Lord Buddha gave out his teachings to the world.
आप सभी को धम्म चक्र प्रवर्तन दिवस और आषाढ़ पूर्णिमा की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आज हम गुरु पूर्णिमा भी मनाते हैं और आज के ही दिन भगवान बुद्ध ने बुद्धत्व की प्राप्ति के बाद अपना पहला ज्ञान संसार को दिया था।
Further speaking on Lord Buddha and Buddhism, he said that the teachings of Buddha are relevant even today and are the reason that people all over the world follow Buddhism and his teachings.
जहां ज्ञान है वहीं पूर्णता है, वही पूर्णिमा है। और जब उपदेश करने वाले स्वयं बुद्ध हो तो स्वाभाविक है कि ज्ञान संस्कार के कल्याण का पर्याय बन जाता है। त्याग और तितिक्षा से तपे बुद्ध जब बोलते हैं तो केवल शब्द ही नहीं निकलते, बल्कि धम्म चक्र का प्रवर्तन होता है। इसलिए तब उन्होंने केवल 5 शिष्यों को उपदेश दिया था, लेकिन आज पूरी दुनिया में उन शब्दों के अनुयायी हैं, बुद्ध में आस्था रखने वाले लोग हैं।
Prime Minister Modi also talked about the teachings of Lord Buddha that he gave in Sarnath. He said that Lord Buddha talked about sadness and how Buddha taught us ways to fight sadness.
सारनाथ में भगवान बुद्ध ने पूरे जीवन का, पूरे ज्ञान का सूत्र हमें बताया था। उन्होंने दुख के बारे में बताया, दुख के कारण के बारे में बताया, ये आश्वासन दिया कि दुखों से जीता जा सकता है और इस जीत का रास्ता भी बताया।
Prime Minister Modi further talked about the Ashtanga Sutra given by Lord Buddha as life lessons that are the basic teachings of Buddhism.
भगवान बुद्ध ने हमें जीवन के लिए अष्टांग सूत्र 8 मंत्र दिए। समाधिठि, सम्मा संकल्पो, सम्मा वाचा, सम्मा कम्मंतो, सम्मा आजीवो, सम्मा वायामो, सम्मा सति और सम्मा समाधि। यानी कि सम्यक दृष्टि, सम्यक संकल्प, सम्यक वाणी, सम्यक कर्म, सम्यक आजीविका, सम्यक प्रयास, सम्यक मन, सम्यक समाधि यानी मन की एकाग्रता।
Well, talking further, Prime Minister spoke about the world's suffering in the times of the pandemic and how the teachings of Lord Buddha became even more relevant to us. Prime Minister Modi also talked about the Care with Prayer initiative of International Buddhist Confederation for the aid amid the COVID pandemic.
आज कोरोना महामारी के रूप में मानवता के सामने वैसा ही संकट है जब भगवान बुद्ध हमारे लिए और भी प्रासंगिक हो जाते हैं। बुद्ध के मार्ग पर चलकर ही बड़ी से बड़ी चुनौती का सामना हम कैसे कर सकते हैं, भारत ने ये करके दिखाया है। बुद्ध के सम्यक विचार को लेकर आज दुनिया के देश भी एक दूसरे का हाथ थाम रहे हैं, एक दूसरे की ताकत बन रहे हैं। इस दिशा में इंटरनेशनल बुद्धिस्ट कॉन्फेडरेशन का केयर विद प्रेयर इनिशिएटिव यह भी बहुत प्रशंसनीय है।
When ending his address, he mentioned that the Dhammapada and said that more the teachings by Lord Buddha will be followed, then the world will move swiftly on the path of prosperity and peace.
धम्मपद कहता है, नहीं वैरेन वैरानी संपन्तिध कुदाचनम अवैरेन च संपत्ति एस धम्मो सनंततो। अर्थात वैर से वैर शांत नहीं होता, बल्कि वैर अवैर से, बड़े मन से, प्रेम से शांत होता है। त्रासदी के समय में दुनिया ने प्रेम की, सौहार्द की इस शक्ति को महसूस किया है। बुद्ध का ये ज्ञान, मानवता का ये अनुभव जैसे जैसे समृद्ध होगा, विश्व सफलता और समृद्धि की नई ऊंचाइयों को छुएगा।
Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be on a 2-day visit to the northeast from today. During his visit, the Home Minister will visit Assam and Meghalaya. He will also dedicate several important development projects to both the northeastern states. Amit Shah is scheduled to chair a meeting with the Chief Ministers, Chief Secretaries and DGPs of northeastern states this evening, where important issues related to the region are likely to be discussed. Along with inaugurating the interstate bus terminus at Mambyong on the outskirts of Shillong and the cryogenic plant at the new Shillong township, Home Minister Amit Shah will also attend the foundation stone laying ceremony of a multi-purpose conference hall. On Sunday morning, the Home Minister will meet the soldiers of Assam Rifles and participate in the tree plantation campaign being run by them. He is scheduled to reach Guwahati by Sunday afternoon, where he will inaugurate new facilities in GMCH. In another program, Amit Shah will gift important development projects to the people of Assam. New tax portal will soon be launched with the taxpayers to file the IT returns. In view of COVID, Finance Ministry has already given time till September 30th for filing IT returns. Our correspondent Ajay Mishra caught up exclusively with the CBDT chairman on the occasion of Income Tax Day. Let's listen in.
Hello and welcome to this very special broadcast on DD India. I am Ajay Mishra, and in this special broadcast we'll bring you a very special guest who is the pioneer in the tax ecosystem of this country. We have with us the CBDT chairman JB Mohapatra with us exclusive to talk to us on DD News. Thank you very much, sir. The year 2021-22 has been very special year for the taxpayers. This is the year where we have the option of going for the new tax regime as well as the old tax regime as promised in the budget, and to talk about the policies of the government on taxation front going forward. We have a very special guest. Thank you very much, sir, for talking to us. My first question is, this year because of the COVID pandemic, a lot of focus has been on the digitization and the simplification of the tax system. Can you elaborate on that? Where are we heading in terms of tax policies?
Whatever policy the government brings in, the main idea is to sustain the generation of national revenue, for sustaining the many schemes and programs that the government runs, and for the necessary expenditure of the government towards security and building of the infrastructure. This is the main goal. The Income Tax Department, the first and the foremost task is to generate revenue for the Government of India, as painlessly, as effortlessly, and as efficiently as we can. Towards this end, simplification of tax laws so that common people, the tax-paying public, understand the contours and the technicalities of the Tax Act and the rules thereunder, and to navigate their way through the so-called complicated tax process effortlessly. That is always the mantra of Income Tax Department. We want the tax laws to be as simple as possible, so that people who are on the borderline of taxability, they can come effortlessly into the tax net. Our aim is to expand the tax net, generate more revenues for the government in a way which is just and fair to everybody.
So you just said that you want to broaden the tax base. What is your strategy for achieving this widening of the tax base, and also how are you going to make the taxpayers at ease that the department is actually there to help them and help them pay their taxes on time and efficiently to help the nation going forward?
Yes, the tax buoyancy which everybody talks about cannot happen if the existing taxpayers pay a little more, because that will add to the GDP in the denominator and it will add to the tax payment in the numerator. So it does not work out that way. Tax buoyancy only can come when new taxpayers, they come into the fold of tax net. For that reason, department has been always trying to get the best of technology integrated into our surveillance and our monitoring network. More the technology involvement in selection of cases, in processing of the data, more is the chances of more taxpayers coming to the net. We want all taxpayers who are there in the fold not only to pay more taxes, but new people coming into the tax net. So that will add to the tax buoyancy which the department expects. For this year, it is around 1.57%. So we are trying to locate in the ways which are non-intrusive and which are typically technology oriented to help find newer people into our tax net.
And sir, coming on to the tax numbers, we have a target of over 11 lakh crore rupees for the year as a whole for the direct taxes. Where are we currently standing, and how do you see the year going forward in terms of net tax collection on direct tax front?
For this year, you are right in saying that our tax target is 11.08 lakh crores, 10.95 lakh crores of income tax and corporation tax, and 12,500 crores of the securities transaction tax. On both the corporation tax and the income tax, we are at a very happy space right now. We, in the end of the first quarter, achieved 22% of our target, which is broadly the way we look forward for this year. Our numbers are much superior to the year before, but understandably so, because last year was a year of exceptional difficulties. So these two numbers cannot be compared one to the other. But we are not sitting on the laurels. We are not apprehensive at this point in time we are not apprehensive. We are only apprehensive of any other outbreak in a major way in the rest of the year. But things, if they do not get worse on the health front, I believe that the tax targets of 11.08 lakh crores can be achieved and it can be exceeded. The numbers are good today. I am cautiously optimistic at this point in time. We are not keeping our fingers crossed, but we are trying hard so that our numbers improve quarter upon quarter.
Sir, on this faceless thing, many people are saying that they should be given opportunity to virtually interact with the officers, because many of them are not very fluent in writing or saying what they want to say in writing or in English language per se. Are we going to see some changes in the faceless process as being demanded by some of the quarters of the taxpayers?
Correct. With regard to affording an opportunity which will entail the affording of the natural justice, when somebody demands a hearing, one must give a hearing, and for that technology has enabled us to have the virtual conference. The VC facility is there, but the language translation, etc., to make the officer understand in the way the language which is uttered by the taxpayer, for that we have to work on. People are working on the system, and I cannot give a date, but very soon we will have a full-fledged working virtual conference, the VC facility, which will help both the taxpayer and the tax gatherer work in tandem effortlessly and efficiently.
Sir, now on to the new tax portal that everybody is talking about and waiting for. You have already given a 2 months of extension for filing the income tax return for the individuals. That's a great relief for those who are actually caught up in this pandemic. Going forward, sir, how by when can we expect fully functional and transparent portal to be operationalized, because many taxpayers and CAs are waiting for it, sir?
Correct. At the end of the day, if you look at the tax portal, it is a combination of hundreds of functionalities, from making an application for rectification to making an application for registration, for filing an appeal, to filing a return. This new portal is all inclusive. More the functionalities, more are the chances that something will not work out at the testing level or at the operational level. The systems people, the MSP, and the income tax department as a whole is working alongside the Chartered Accountants of India to make it glitch free and operational as quickly as possible.
And sir, to the honest taxpayers, because you have also implemented the tax charter as has been put forward by the Prime Minister before the nation. What do you want to say to the honest taxpayers who actually want to contribute and not want to be harassed because of the lack of technical knowledge and all? Is the system going to be more simple and helpful for those?
Yeah, I would tell you that India is one of the few countries where the taxpayers' rights is put as a statutory right under the Income Tax Act. Section 119A would offer the taxpayer the rights, his rights, which he can demand of the Income Tax Department. And under 119A and the rules thereunder, now what we have made is we have set out standards of service. When to expect the refund, when to expect the appeal effect order, when to expect the rectification order. All these things are now part of the standards of service. If an application is made for getting a thing done, for a registration or for a grievance to be settled, all these are parts of the standards of service. The department will try its utmost that the standards of service in all cases are met on time and promptly and with great precision.
Sir, what is the message to the international community, the international investors? When they look at India, there are some of the cases, you are well aware of it, the Kovind case and Care Energy and Vodafone case, they are stuck in international tribunals. What is your message to the international investors community? They want an assurance of a stable tax regime, and also they should not face any kind of retrospective taxation as has been the case in the past. So what is your message for those?
Yeah, India has always been trying through its tax laws to attract foreign investment. If you look at 3 to 4 years old finance bills and the acts, you find India, the government of India, trying its utmost, even through the taxation policy, to attract foreign investment. The attraction of India has to be permanently etched in the mind of the international investors. It is no wonder that currently there are 10 pension funds, big pension funds and sovereign wealth funds. They have come to India, they have got registered in India, and we have the IFSC, International Financial Services Center, where there are a lot of tax breaks for their investment in infrastructure. So through the tax laws also, we are trying to attract investment. The withholding tax also for the foreign investors, it has been liberalized. So we are trying all the while to attract investment from the foreign source to India in our own little way through the taxation system.
And finally, sir, we are going to celebrate the income tax day on 24th of July. What is going to be the main focus of the government throughout the year, if you can just elaborate some of the activities that you are going to take for?
Yeah, as part of the celebration, we are going to commemorate this day. It was 1860 when income tax officially came into being, but we are much older than 1860. It is one of the most ancient and the oldest institutions in any history of any nation. We are going ahead with our celebration of remembering the first income tax day, but our motto throughout the year will be to help the assessee filing or finding his way in the so-called complicated tax system, make his life simpler, easier, and also as a rebound, expecting us to get more and more tax revenue for the government of India to run itself.
Thank you very much, sir. So simplicity and transparency is going to be the mantra for the year ahead. This was the CBDT chairman, J.B. Mahapatra, exclusive on DD News. Thank you very much for joining on this special broadcast. That's all from me and my team. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, shifting focus now to monsoon mayhem in the western state of Maharashtra, where Kolhapur, Sangli, Satara district in Maharashtra is facing flood-like situation as the water level in the river is rising. NDRF has deployed 26 teams across coastal Maharashtra ahead of the IMD prediction of heavy rainfall. Water has subsided in Chiplun, Khed and Mahad areas. Rescue operation is underway in Taliye village. So far, 37 bodies have been recovered from the debris. 4 bodies recovered from Posare Kurd village landslide in Ratnagiri. In Kolhapur district, Panchganga river is flowing above the danger mark. In Satara district, Krishna and Karad rivers have reached the danger levels. In Sangli district, Varna and Erla rivers are also flowing at the danger mark. People residing at the riverbank have been alerted, and at various places they have shifted to safer places. NDRF is distributing food packets as part of the relief operations in the aftermath of heavy rains that led to a flood-like situation in Maharashtra. In addition, to helicopters. The Indian Air Force has deployed 1 C-17 and 2 C-130Js for airlifting 170 personnel and 21 T load of NDRF from Bhubaneswar. Meanwhile, following yesterday's suspension of services due to incessant rains, train services have now been restored on the Konkan railway route. Well, for more on this story, we've got Shishir Shelar joining us on the phone line. Shishir, clearly looking at the western part of Maharashtra, incessant rain. Give us updates, especially from Satara, Raigad regions, and also the Konkan region, which has been severely affected by the rains. Shishir, good morning. Shishir, if you could hear me, give us an update, especially on the western part of Maharashtra. Areas of Satara, Raigad, where we've heard stories about landslide, and also Konkan region. Give us the latest there on ground zero. Well. Shishir, if you can get my audio, I just wanted an update with regards to the monsoon mayhem in Maharashtra and western Maharashtra in particular. Well, I believe rains causing havoc not only to mankind but also to technology there. We will try and touch base with our correspondent and get his update in the following bulletins. Well, heading or dipping down south in Karnataka, heavy rains have claimed the lives of 3 people. Parts of the state have been witnessing incessant downpour over the last 24 hours. The state government has sounded a red alert in 7 districts, including Shivmoga, Chikmagaluru, Kodagu districts. There were landslides in 8 places, including Virajpet in Kodagu district, Arabel Ghat in Uttar Kannada district. In the flood-hit Uttar Kannada, the Indian Coast Guard conducted a day-long rescue operations and saved more than 160 people from Karge Jug village, Ungli Jug village, Khare Jug and Bodo Jug islands. The state has opened 80 relief camps to provide shelter to those affected and rescued. Railways, meanwhile, have cancelled a few trains due to landslides between Sonaliam Kulim and Dudhsagar Karnzol. Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa on Friday reviewed the flood situation with top officials and directed all district in charge ministers and MLAs to oversee the relief work in their respective areas. Krishna, Kaveri, Tungabhadra, Bhima, Kapila, Kabini and many other rivers in Malnad and coastal Karnataka are in spate. Giving updates on the rain in the state, Director IMD Bengaluru C.S. Patil said coastal Karnataka will experience widespread rainfall from the 23rd to the 27th of July.
Karnataka is very likely to experience widespread rainfall from 23rd to 27th July. North interior Karnataka and south interior Karnataka are very likely to experience widespread rainfall on 23rd July, fairly widespread rainfall on 24th July and scattered rainfall on 25th, 26th and 27th July. Uttara Kannada, Udupi, Dakshina Kannada, Shivamogga, Chikmagaluru, Assam and Kodagu districts are given red alert on 23rd July. Orange alert is given on 24th July. Karnataka state is very likely to experience reduction in rainfall with respect to intensity and distribution from 25th July onwards temporarily.
Well, moving to Goa, where several parts of Goa, including Satari and Payakulim tehsils in North Goa, are reeling under flood-like situation. Large number of houses were inundated following heavy rains over the past few days. Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, meanwhile, inspected rural areas in North Goa, where the flood-like situation has emerged after heavy rain over the last 10 days. Chief Minister of Goa, Dr. Pramod Sawant, spoke to Union Home Minister regarding the flooding situation in Goa due to incessant rains. The Chief Minister briefed him about the widespread damage caused in the state. The Home Minister has assured all the necessary support for carrying out relief activities. Prime Minister called Goa Chief Minister to inquire about the safety and well-being of the people in the prevailing flooding situation in Goa due to incessant rains. Prime Minister Modi assured full support and assistance to the state. The State Disaster Response Force, Coast Guard carried out rescue operations in Dharbhandora Taluka on Friday evening. Heading up north to Jammu and Kashmir, where 2 terrorists were killed in an encounter with security forces at Shokbada Forest, Simblar area of Bandipora in Jammu and Kashmir. The terrorists have not been identified. On receiving specific information about the presence of terrorists in the Shokbada Forest area of Bandipora, a joint team of Bandipora Police, Army's 13 and 14 Rashtriya Rifles and CRPF launched a search operation. The terrorists started firing, to which security forces gave a befitting reply. Search operation is currently underway. Well, terrorists late on Friday fired indiscriminately upon a civilian near his house in Larugam village in Tral, Avantipura. According to the Kashmir Zone Police, the civilian has been identified as Javed al-Malik. He was shifted to hospital for treatment, where he succumbed to his injuries. The area has been cordoned off and a search is on in the area to nab the terrorists. Well, moving to the COVID battle that India is facing along with the world, the battle against COVID-19 continues in India. The government is strictly enforcing the test, track and treat protocol to restrict the spread of COVID-19. The union government is committed to accelerating the pace and expanding the scope of COVID-19 vaccination throughout the country. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 42 crores 78 lakh mark. One takes a look at cumulative numbers. 42 crores 78 lakh 82,261 vaccine doses administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. 42 lakh 67,799 people vaccinated in the last 24 hours. A look at the total recoveries less than 50,000 daily new cases that have been noted in India in the last 27 days. 3 crore 5 lakh 3,166 patients have recovered across the country so far. 35,087 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate in India currently further improving up to 97.35%. India has reported 39,097 new cases in the last 24 hours. Less than 50,000 daily new cases for the 27th continuous day. The country's current active load caseload stands at 4,08,977. Active cases constitute just 1.31% of the total positive cases. Weekly positivity rate remains below 5%, currently at 2.22%, and the daily positivity rate at 2.4%, less than 3 for 33 consecutive days. The testing capacity is substantially ramped up, 45.45 crore tests being conducted in India. Well, visit to the Rashtrapati Bhavan and the Rashtrapati Bhavan Museum complex will reopen from the 1st of August for the public. It has been closed since 14th of April due to COVID-19 pandemic. Tour of Rashtrapati Bhavan will be available on Saturday and Sunday except on gazetted holidays in 3 pre-booked time slots with a maximum limit of 25 visitors per slot. Rashtrapati Bhavan Museum complex will remain open for 6 days in a week from Tuesday to Sunday except on gazetted holidays in 4 pre-booked time slots with a maximum limit of 50 visitors per slot. These time slots will be between 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, the government has said there is no plan to suspend the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test or NEET exams and other common entrance examination. In a written reply to Lok Sabha, Minister of State for Health, Bharti Praveen Pawar, said that NEET PG entrance exams are to be scheduled to be held on the 11th of September, while NEET undergraduate 2021 exams will be conducted on the 12th of September. The minister said the examinations will be conducted adhering to all precautions and following all protocols, including maintaining COVID-appropriate behavior. The number of examination centers have been increased across the country to avoid crowding and long travel by the candidates. Also, face masks will be compulsory for the candidates, and they will be provided with a protective gear safety kit comprising of a face shield, a face mask and hand sanitizer. All candidates will be checked at the entry point for recording of temperature, and those detected with above a normal temperature will be allowed to take the examination in a separate isolation lab created for this purpose. Measures will be taken to control crowd outside the examination center. Well, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will visit India on the 27th and 28th of July. This will be his first visit to the country after assuming charge as U.S. Secretary of State under Joe Biden's administration. Antony Blinken will meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, among other officials during India's stay. India views Secretary Blinken's visit as an opportunity to continue the high-level bilateral dialogue and bolster India-US global strategic partnership. According to the MEA, both sides will review the robust and multifaceted India-US bilateral relations and potential for consolidating them further. Discussions will focus on regional and global issues of mutual interest, including recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, the Indo-Pacific region, Afghanistan, and cooperation in the UN. Secretary Antony Blinken in his tweet said, and I quote, "On July 26th, I'll depart for New Delhi, India and Kuwait City, Kuwait. This trip will underscore the importance of our cooperation on topics like COVID-19 response efforts, shared security interests, and the climate crisis. I look forward to strengthening our important partnerships." Well, going on to some business news now, the Wall Street gained ground for the fourth straight session on Friday, extending a rally that pushed all three major U.S. stock indexes on to record closing highs as upbeat earnings and signs of an economic revival fueled investor risk appetite. The S&P 500, the Nasdaq and the Dow all notched weekly gains. Meanwhile, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose to 38.2 points to close at 35,061. The S&P 500 gained 44 points to close at 4,411, and the Nasdaq Composite 152 points to close at 14,837 points. Well, let's now take a quick look at COVID-19 numbers from over the world. The battle against COVID-19 continues across the globe. More than 19 crores 40 lakh cases worldwide so far testing positive for coronavirus. The number of recoveries, the positive number that one looks at when you see that big chart, 17 crores 61 lakh people recovering from coronavirus. The deadly virus fatalities across the world now stands at 41 lakh 59,000. United States worst affected both in terms of infections as well as fatalities. Infections, the number over 3 crore 52 lakh. The fatalities now over 6 lakh 26,000. Well, the United States purchased 200 million more doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for flexibility if booster shots are later needed and the shots are approved for younger children. The White House said this on Friday. The vaccine makers announced the government's purchase earlier on Friday.
We've always prepared for every scenario. The federal government is exercising an option in its contract with Pfizer to purchase these 200 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine to be delivered between the fall of 2021 and the spring of 2022 to prepare for future vaccination need, vaccines for children under 12 and possible booster shots if studies show they are necessary. We don't know if we'll need a booster shot. That's going to be up to the research that's ongoing with the FDA. That's not a recommendation that's currently made. We also don't know. We also can't predict what the outcome will be of research on kids under 12. We're certainly hopeful, and we don't know which vaccine will be most effective, but we want to have maximum flexibility, so this is an effort to provide us with that.
U.S. President Joe Biden is poised to nominate another member of the Kennedy political dynasty to represent his administration overseas. He is tapping Carolina Kennedy, daughter of the late President John F. Kennedy, as the American ambassador to Australia. The 63-year-old former first daughter has been a vocal supporter of Biden since February of last year, when she declared he was more prepared for the job than his rivals. The first female U.S. ambassador to Japan, Kennedy, was an early and prominent supporter of Obama in his initial quest for his presidency in 2008 and also campaigned for him. Kennedy also sat on Obama's vice presidential search committee, which eventually helped put Joe Biden on the 2008 ticket. Well, dozens of irregular Afghan migrants crossed into Turkey's eastern province of Van from Iran amid rising violence in Afghanistan. Concerns over a potential new influx of migrants into Turkey from Afghanistan via Iran have grown in recent weeks as violence between the Afghan government and the Taliban has surged as US and NATO forces withdrew. Migrants who walked from Iran to Turkey said they were fleeing the Taliban and wanted to go to Istanbul to find work. Foreign Minister of Turkey, Afghanistan and Iran discussed cooperation on security, energy and migration last month, but Turkish diplomatic sources say there is no specific mechanism between Ankara and Tehran to address migration from Afghanistan. Turkey hosts more than 4 million refugees from vast majority countries like Syria and is the world's leading refugee host. Meanwhile, with most of Europe, China, Russia and Turkey under the spell of incessant rainfall and floods due to the overflowing rivers, new states are joining the list of affected places every day. Swollen rivers hit New River, Arizona Friday, causing a deluge along freeways. The National Weather Service warned that rains of up to 2 to 4 inches could produce flash flooding in parts of Arizona. The flash flooding could continue well into the night, especially over recent burn scars and other flood-prone areas. Arizona Public Radio reported this. Well, in sports, the Indian men's hockey team has won the first match at the Tokyo Olympics. India beat New Zealand 3-2. The first goal in the match was successfully scored from Russell's penalty corner in the 6th minute of the match for New Zealand, who took an early lead. At the same time, India continued their efforts, and in the 10th minute, India got a penalty stroke, on which Rupender Pal Singh scored the goal to level the match. Harmanpreet then converted a penalty corner in the 26th minute of the match to help India take a 2-1 lead. The team's vice-captain Harmanpreet once again scored a penalty corner in the 33rd minute of the match to extend India's lead to 3-1. New Zealand then managed to score in the 43rd minute of the match and brought the match to 3-2. New Zealand's team kept the pressure in the last quarter, but some excellent goalkeeping by India's goalkeeper PR Srijesh. They could not get that equalizer, and India won the opening match of the Olympics 3-2. Well, Deepika Kumari and Praveen Jadhav today registered a come-from-behind 5-3 win against the Chinese Taipei to reach the quarterfinals of the mixed archery event in Tokyo Olympics. While Praveen Jadhav looked all clear with his quick releases, it was Deepika Kumari's composure that helped India, as the star Indian archer did not wilt under pressure as India came from behind to win the match. The duo will face Korea now in their quarterfinal encounter. Well, news just trickling in. Indian shooter Saurav Chaudhary has qualified for the finals of the 10-meter air pistol event in Tokyo Olympics. Saurav finished first in the qualifying round with a score of 586. He shot a 95 in the first series, followed by 3 series of 98, a 4th shot of 100, and the last series 97 that he shot 586. 28 tens in his score, qualifying in the number 1 spot in that 8-shooter final. 8 shooters there. India's other shooter in the fray, Abhishek Verma, was unlucky as he finished with 575 and finished in the 17th spot. One more interesting input that comes from that particular story is that there were 3 shooters that finished with a score of 578. 3 shooters, shooter 7 from China, shooter 8 from Serbia, and Joseph Gulfam from Pakistan all finished with 578 scores of 578, but Joseph Gulfam from Pakistan missing out because he had 13 inner tens as compared to the other shooter from Serbia who had 21 inner tens, and the shooter from China who qualified with 22 tens. So clearly it's been tough competition there in the particular shooting range, and we've got Tejinder Singh joining us this morning to give us the latest there on the Olympics. Tejinder, clearly morning did not start off well, but now things looking good. Saurav Chaudhary qualifying in the top spot, especially from the shooting ranges of Osaka.
Well, yes, the good news is coming that Saurav Chaudhary has qualified for the finals, and we will be waiting for the finals which start at 12. It was a slow start by both the Indian shooters. In the first series he hit 95, but then he recovered, and in the second series he hit 98, and same was the score in the third series. And his fourth series was 100 out of 100. It was he was shooting brilliantly, and he suddenly rose and he came to the first position and stayed there. And in the last series he shot 97. But at the same time, Abhishek Verma was also doing well. He was at one time in the 6th place, but then he dropped. In the last series he was not that good. But the good news is that Saurav Chaudhary has qualified, and we'll be looking out for the final. We'll be waiting for the first medal, which we are expecting, that we were saying for a long time that we'll be getting a first medal on the very first day of these Olympic Games. But it's going to be a very tough final. It's going to be again starting from the scratch for these 8 shooters. So it's going to be very interesting. But the way we have seen, Saurav has been shooting consistently fine, not only in this qualification round, but over the years he has been shooting consistently. So we believe that he is going to get some good results for us.
Well, some good results is what we all are hoping for. But looking at India's hockey team, the manner in which they started, do you feel, you've covered Olympics, do you feel impressed with the show that they put in the opening match against New Zealand, coming back from, 1 down to winning the match 3-2?
Well, yes, the way we saw the hockey team, I would consider it in 2 parts. First, in the first 3 quarters, and then the last quarter. Okay. In the first quarter, when New Zealand was 1 up against Indian team, we didn't saw that team was not at all confused. It was not at all under pressure. They were playing so calmly on the ground. They were making wonderful moves, the wonderful passes right from the center to the opponent's D. It was a wonderful game by Indian hockey team, and they were very calm and composed, even if they were one goal down, as if they knew that they would be covering this lead, and that happened. Rupinder Pal Singh converted the penalty stroke which India got, and then 2 penalty corners which were converted by Harmanpreet Singh. So at that time India was looking very good with the lead of 3-1. But then came the last quarter when New Zealand put their pressed that accelerator, and they tried to keep pressure on India because they had nothing to lose. They wanted to get a point in this match, and at that time it was a bit, we could say that Indian team was defending, was finding some places. The passing was not that accurate in that last quarter, and especially in the end, in the last 5 minutes. Had it not been the brilliance by P.R. Srijesh, we could have seen a different result. But that is what we say, that our forwards, they win matches for us, but the goalkeeper and the defense, they win tournaments for us, and that's what we have been seeing. Our defense was good at times. They were not allowing any open space to the New Zealand hockey players, but the result is the result, and it's a very good win, we could say, starting this tournament, beating New Zealand, although India is ranked higher than the New Zealand, but you can never write off New Zealand, especially if we talk in the Olympics. They have a good record against India, but I would like to say that it has been a good win for India, because a win is a win, and now going into the second match against Australia with a win under the belt, it would be easier for India. I think the pressure would not be on the Indian team. So all in all, we can say that it was a good performance. We have seen a bit different team, a bit calm, composed, and attacking whenever it was required, and some wonderful plays in the field.
Okay, so that's clearly interesting times there, considering the fact that Australia didn't have it easy against host Japan in that outing earlier this day. So clearly, we could keep our fingers crossed and hope that we get our first medal there from shooting and also from archery, where India... And
Anil, I would also like to add that another medal could also be on way, because the weightlifting event of Mirabai Chanu has started, and we know that she's very good in clean and jerk, but the snatch event, she has asked for 84 kg, and this is only next to the Chinese weightlifter who has asked for 91 kg. So we can expect some good results coming in weightlifting as well. We'll have to wait and watch how she performs.
Okay, opening day. So opening honors we are all looking for, keeping our fingers crossed, cheering for India. Remember, keep that cheer for India going. That's all we have time for. Thank you and appreciate you joining us on News on the Hour. So clearly things looking good for Team India there, especially at the Olympics. Remember that, keep the cheer going for the champions there. There are 127 players, but there are 127 players representing India. and there are over 1.3 billion people who are rooting for them here. So keep that cheer for India going. Remember, some shooters did flounder, but you got to keep cheering the players who are doing good, and let's all keep our fingers crossed. Hope that Saurav Chaudhary cracks it there, stands on the podium on day one of the medal ceremony. Also Mirabai Chanu in red hot form, as Teji put it. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that India shines on day one of the Tokyo Olympics. Well, that's it from me and my entire team. Thanks for watching. Have a safe and wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.